All right, so today we're diving into something that I think we can all relate to, right? Itchy eyes. We've got a ton of research and even some home remedies lined up, so get ready to go beyond just like rubbing that itch. We're going to help you figure out what those itchy eyes are trying to tell you.
Yeah, it's funny. It seems like such a simple thing, but itchy eyes, they can actually be surprisingly complex. And while they're usually a minor annoyance, sometimes they can be a sign of something that needs a little more attention.
For sure. I mean, I know just last week I was doing some yard work, got a face full of leaves, and bam, instant eye irritation.
I've been there.
So let's start, I guess, with some of the usual suspects.
Right, when we're talking itchy eyes, the most common culprits are usually allergies and irritants. Think pollen in the air, dust, anything like that bonfire smoke that seems to follow you around, just those everyday things that can trigger a reaction.
Okay, yeah, totally. But what's actually happening in our bodies when our eyes kind of go haywire over something like pollen?
So when you're allergic to something like pollen, your immune system kind of freaks out a little bit, and it releases this substance called histamine. You can think of it like your body's alarm system trying to protect you from what it thinks is a threat.
So it's like an overprotective security guard in your body hitting the alarm over some harmless pollen.
Exactly. And unfortunately, that alarm often involves those itchy eyes.
Yeah, tell me about it. And it's not just the obvious stuff, right? Like, I feel like I am constantly battling dry eyes, especially after staring at a computer screen all day for work.
Oh, you're definitely not alone.
Yeah.
Dry eye is incredibly common, especially with the way we live today. We blink less when we're on screens, and that can mess with the tear film that keeps our eyes, moist and comfy. And when that tear film is messed up, you get that dry, itchy, sometimes even gritty feeling.
Ugh, the worst. So it's like our eyes are saying, hey, put the phone down, give us a break, maybe some eye drops while you're at it. And then there's, I had to look this one up, but blepharitis.
Blepharitis, it's a mouthful.
It is, but it's basically inflammation of the eyelids, right?
Yeah, blepharitis is another really common one. Your eyelids, they work hard, blinking thousands of times a day, so sometimes they get irritated and inflamed. You can almost think of it like dandruff, but for your eyelids. Could be caused by bacteria, clogged oil glands, even just dry skin.
So we've got allergies, irritants, dry eyes, blepharitis, all these things that can like send our eyes into an itchy frenzy. It really makes you realize how much we take our eyes for granted. Okay, so we've covered some of the usual suspects when it comes to itchy eyes. But what about those times when it's a sign of something a little more, well, complicated?
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
I came across this term while researching for this deep dive. Have you ever heard of meibomian gland dysfunction?
I have. It's a mouthful, right?
It is.
But it's more common than you might think. Yeah, basically we have these tiny glands in our eyelids called meibomian glands, and they produce an oil that's really important for healthy tears.
Oil in our tears.
Mm.
That's fascinating. Tell me more.
Yeah, so it sounds strange, but it's true. This oil actually helps to keep our tears from evaporating too quickly.
Oh,
So when those glands aren't working properly, it's kind of like having dry eye, but like on overdrive.
oh
Your
no.
eyes feel dry, gritty, and super itchy.
So it's like the oil is creating a kind of protective seal
Exactly.
to keep those tears from drying out too fast.
Yes, and when that seal is compromised, it can lead to a lot of discomfort.
That makes a lot of sense. And then, of course, there's the dreaded pink eye. I think we've all probably encountered that at some point, especially those of us with kids or if you work closely with others. It's highly contagious, right?
It is, yeah. Pink eye, or conjunctivitis, it's an inflammation of the conjunctiva, which is that thin membrane that covers the white part of your eye. And it can be caused by viruses, bacteria, even allergens, and it spreads like crazy, especially in places like schools and offices.
So hand washing is key here.
Absolutely. Washing your hands frequently, especially after touching your eyes or face, is one of the best ways to prevent spreading pink eye. And if you do happen to get it, it's really important to stay home from work or school to prevent spreading it to others.
Really important. This next one kind of surprised me. There's a connection between itchy eyes and eczema.
Yeah, that's right. You might not think they're connected, but people with atopic dermatitis, which is the most common type of eczema, are actually more prone to itchy eyes.
Huh, interesting. So what's the link between like itchy inflamed skin and itchy eyes?
Well, it actually goes back to that whole overactive immune system response that we were talking about earlier. Eczema and a lot of eye conditions, they're often rooted in inflammation, which is basically your body's way of fighting off things that it sees as a threat.
Mhm.
But sometimes that inflammation kind of goes overboard, And that can cause all sorts of problems, including those itchy eyes.
So it's like our bodies are trying to get our attention,
Exactly.
even if it's just over something like a little bit of dust or pollen.
Right. And while most itchy eye situations are, easily managed, there are times when it can be a sign of something more serious. So it's good to be aware of that.
So what are some of those red flags that might signal a need to see a doctor? When are itchy eye something that you should get checked out?
Yeah, that's a good question because, we want to know when we can reach for those at-home remedies and when it's time to actually call in the pros, right?
Exactly. And most of the time, itchy eyes are really easily managed with some simple solutions. But if you're having like intense pain, any kind of changes in your vision, blurry vision, double vision, maybe you're seeing halos around lights, or if that itching is just persistent, doesn't go away, it's really severe, or it's not responding to like over-the-counter things that you're trying at home, those are all signs that you should probably get it checked out. Yeah, makes sense. Better safe than sorry, especially when it comes to our eyes. So let's talk about those home remedies because I'm all about, finding natural ways to feel better. What are some things that people can try at home to soothe those itchy peepers?
One of the simplest and honestly most effective things you can do is a cold compress. Just a clean washcloth, soak it in cold water, wring it out, and just lay it over your eyelids for a few minutes.
I've done that before, and it is shockingly soothing. Why does something so simple work so well?
It's just that cold temperature. It helps to constrict the blood vessels, which reduces any inflammation, any swelling, and that helps to relieve that itchy feeling. Plus, it just, feels nice. Kind of takes your mind off of it.
Totally. What about artificial tears? Those are a staple in my medicine cabinet, especially during allergy season.
Yeah, artificial tears are amazing for dry, itchy eyes. They lubricate your eyes, supplement your natural tears, which can be really helpful if you're dealing with dry eye or that meibomian gland dysfunction that we were talking about earlier.
Right. And we also saw some stuff about eyelid wipes and over-the-counter allergy drops. Are those worth trying?
For sure. Eyelid wipes, especially the ones that are specifically designed for blepharitis, can help to keep your eyelids clean and free from anything that could be irritating them, like bacteria or pollen. And over-the-counter allergy drops can be a game changer during allergy season. They block histamine, which remember is that chemical that triggers those allergic reactions in the first place.
So it sounds like we've got a lot of options for managing those itchy eyes, but it's important to pay attention to what those itchy eyes are telling us in the first place, right?
Absolutely. Itchy eyes, they're usually just a minor annoyance, but like we talked about, they can be a sign of something more serious sometimes. So listen to your body and don't hesitate to get it checked out if you're concerned.
Great advice. Well, this has been really eye-opening. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure. Hopefully everyone listening has a few new tricks up their sleeve for keeping those eyes comfy and itch-free.